we're on the party line with Sarah and Christy. This is I'm on the Phone podcast, where we're healing out loud, sharing culty stories, and laughing at the mess along the way. So grab a coffee, a bestie, settle in, and let's talk. You were telling me a story the other day, and, from the point of view, again, as a pastor's wife, from another pastor's wife, all this stuff happened. And it was this lady was conditioning her own child around music.
Yeah. So innocent. Something so innocent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So can you tell that again for our listeners? Because I always I hate that I feel speechless so often, but at the same time, I have so much I want to say. Mostly I'm just so angry I'm just so angry at it because it robs you of personhood.
Yeah.
It robs you of autonomy. Mm-hmm. It robs you of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And my interest and my goals and everything weren't anywhere near what my mom's were,
Right.
For that to be controlled, to ever think that your kids are going to have the same exact interest and mindset and whatever that you have is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, that is not even, that's the whole point. Is the diversity. All you do is guide them, right?
Right.
You make all of their decisions for them. Now, I do agree that there is a time when a child literally cannot make sound decisions,
Obviously.
Very early on. But there are some decisions that you actually do need to let them make. And okay, so me and this other pastor's wife were talking long time ago. I mean, I had a toddler, 2 toddlers and a baby at the time. So this was quite a long time ago. We were just sharing stories, and usually kid stories is what we were sharing. And she had been in a store, and her son was sitting in the cart, and he was probably 4, maybe at the time, 3 or 4. And music came on over the speaker, and it was pretty rocky. And that's all she said, was that it was rocky. And for some people, that literally, it can be not anything real rocky, not in my mind. It's usually like some drums in the background, nothing that is crazy.
I know what you're talking about, because usually it's in reference to some sort of driving beat.
Yeah.
But that could be like Jingle Bell Rocks.
It could be, yeah. And it was
or less.
Yeah. It's not like she was in Hot Topic or Spencer or anything. She with her 4-year-old son.
I know she wouldn't be in Hot Topic.
She could have been, no kidding. She could have been in Kohl's for all. I mean, she probably was. She was probably in a department store or something like that.
Well, okay, not to keep interrupting you, but think about the type of music you would ever hear in Walmart or Target or any store like that.
Exactly.
It's not gonna be actual rock and roll.
No. They actually have guidelines of what they can and cannot play.
I know.
I mean, most, if not all stores probably would have that. And this music came on. And I can't remember if she said something first or if he did, but I think she said, "Oh, that music's not very good." And she just made a comment about it. And he said, "I like that music. I like this music." So right there, he was making a decision. He knew that she did not like it, but it spoke to him. It made him feel things that he liked, right? So she said, "Oh no, we don't like that kind of music." And he said back to her, well, I like that kind of music. I like this kind of music. And she told me that she stopped right there in the aisle and she called him by name and she said, we do not listen to this kind of music. And I believe she even brought God into the conversation and said,
Oh, I'm sure.
yeah, Jesus does not like us to listen to this kind of music. And we are not moving. We are not going to go any further until you say, I do not like this music. That is exactly, I know for a fact, at the very end, that's what she said. We are not going any further until you say, verbally tell me that you do not like this kind of music. For one thing, she was encouraging him to lie about his feelings. That's that's exactly what she was doing. He was lying, and she was not giving him any kind of a choice about what he liked or disliked. Think about how that is going to affect him in the future, right?
Yeah.
Like it just goes all over me as a mom to, I mean, at the time, I was entrenched in this
Yeah.
life, and I even sort of looked at her like dumbfounded. Like, why would you make such a big deal out about music? I mean, so they stood there, and it took her probably, I don't know, she said it was a significant amount of time. It could have been anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes, which I know is a long time when you're just standing there waiting for your child to do what you told him to do. And finally, he starts crying and he said, fine, I don't like this kind of music. And she said, and we went ahead and went on our shopping. And what she said to me then was, isn't that crazy, Christy? She said, this, such a young age and they already feel that tug. And I'm like, tug for what? What the heck are you talking about? Like I was dumbfounded. And then as I've gone through as a mom, that has like come back to me, the control and the manipulation. And then I feel really bad for that kid because he got the realization that there was no way to enjoy anything that his
No.
parents did not. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but that is so wrong. That you're like not helping your kids at all when you do not allow them to make any decisions for themselves about what they enjoy and what they like.
Right.
Like what? Anyway, it goes so much deeper, and I know that you can like, yeah,
I,
psychological control, and
I mean, it is literal brainwashing.
it is. And then you're conditioning or you're teaching them to obey you blindly, which I have such a problem with because when you do that, they are such a target for predators in the future.
Uh-huh.
Well, currently and then in the future, um, when they just have to blindly obey parents without having any questions about why, about, when you don't allow them to talk back to you at all. Anyway,
Talk back.
yeah, talk back. It's there is a certain way of talking back that I don't tolerate from my own children. Obviously, they cannot be rude to me. Like I wouldn't
Right.
allow them to be rude to each other. Um, but that's just human. Like, yes, there is a respect issue, but
Yeah,
also
you have to
I
learn
have to
like well, you
respect
have to learn.
them.
Yes, yep. We have to
Yeah.
model how to disagree respectfully. And it is a learning curve, especially for little kids, because I mean, and it takes a long time.
Mhm.
And then if you throw neurodivergence in there, it's even more intense. And I know you know how intense of a battle that can be in our house.
Yep.
But Like, there's just so many layers to what you just described.
There are.
And I'm like, my brain is going 1,000 miles an hour, but my voice is like,
I know.
which
And
one?
it's like, so let me help you out a little bit.
Yes, help me
One
out.
of the first things not that I can help you in any way,
No,
but one of the
you
first things
can,
I
please.
noticed about it, what I want to get like your opinion on,
Hmm.
one of the first things I noticed about her story was that I'm almost positive that she said something about the music first. Let's say that that's what happened,
Uh-huh.
because that happens a lot.
Oh
Parents
yeah.
point out things that don't really need to be pointed out,
Hmm.
and so her saying, "I don't like this kind of music," she
Yeah.
sort of opened a door right there.
Right.
So that was a very exact first thing that I recognized, was that she pointed out that this music was bad. Would he
Or
have
at least
thought
not her
about it?
yeah, it was not her preference.
It wasn't her preference.
But only because she thought it was bad.
Yes, because she thought Jesus didn't like this kind of music. That's what she thought.
How did we know
Like,
what kind of music Jesus liked?
yeah. And like she said
And trust me,
before,
I've been in the classes where they taught musical philosophy
mhm,
and all the things. Like, I've been through the college classes. Like, I was a music major at one of these Christian colleges where they were talking about this. And honestly, as much as I like really like that professor, to me at this point, I find that entire class to be useless
oh yeah, yeah,
because I really feel like, and I know they would not agree, but they base it a lot into like Old Testament Jewish um, temple worship.
mhm,
Um, like, there was some interesting things that got pointed out, and I would agree that this is the one thing I can agree on, that that when you have music that includes both instruments and vocalists, that neither should overpower one another. Like, they should support one another.
absolutely.
However, like, that got even turned into, and sorry, this is like a whole rant that may not be applicable, but it got turned into um like vocalists being too showy, like if they were too
No,
vocally, like if they're vocally showing off. So of course then pride comes into play.
yeah,
And like, whoever is being the most overpowered or the most out of balance, it got turned into a sin issue.
yeah, yeah.
Which
Oh, those,
makes me
okay,
so
yeah,
angry. Like, I'm sorry, I have
crazy.
what this is a very close topic for me.
Yeah,
um And so there's a lot of thoughts and ideas and philosophies around music, especially within these groups. And once again, you run the gamut of having churches who believe that any musical instruments whatsoever are like sinful and wrong.
yeah.
And you can only sing a cappella, which good luck if you can hold a tune. Um,
Hmm.
it makes it interesting. And then you have churches where they're allowed certain instruments, but not all, like the big one being drums as an exception,
Hmm.
because then there are beats, and because like playing certain types of rhythm, like whether like the holy one is on the beats 1 and 2, and the unholy ones are on beats 3 and 4.
Oh,
There's opinions about like syncopated rhythms, and um,
oh my word.
it is a rabbit hole to go down.
Yeah, I
to
bet.
really just twist yourself up beyond anything of like just enjoying music.
Yeah. Oh, they take all the enjoyment out of it completely.
So this was done to her
Yeah.
as well as a child.
Mhm.
That's how you get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
um, and so this is what she believes is right. She believes that in order to love her child, this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
It requires an extreme amount of cognitive dissonance,
Mhm.
an unwillingness to look beyond your own beliefs.
Mhm.
Like, why do you believe all these things? And like follow it all the way.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around how it can be abusive when those are the intentions.
Yeah.
But the fact is that your intention does not determine its impact.
Right.
Never does.
So true. Yeah.
So, and it took me a long time to figure that out
Mhm.
myself.
Yeah.
I mean, because again, I'm raising kids too, and
Right.
I will do and say things that I am not trying to hurt their feelings, right? But when they express that that is hurting their feelings, at that point, I apologize,
Mhm.
express that it wasn't my intent,
Mhm.
but also repair.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to do this again.
Mhm.
How can we work together so that this thing that needs to happen happens?
Yeah. Right.
And so if you don't teach children, honestly, if you don't teach your kids that one thing, you will be an abuser,
Absolutely.
intentionally or not.
Absolutely. Because, okay, so there are certain things that you have to tell your kids, and you know it's going to hurt
Yes.
their feelings. Like
Well,
there's
it may
certain
not hurt their
things,
feelings, but it may make them angry
or embarrassed.
or embarrassed.
And depends on the sensitivity of your kids, though. I feel like that mine are a little bit more sensitive than an average child. And that is my fault. I was highly protective. I don't know if I would say it's my fault. I've just been very protective of their feelings from day one.
Yeah.
Uh, in certain ways. It was relayed to me by another family member. Thankfully, they did not say anything to the person.
Right?
Knew
Oh,
enough. I feel like that we're all aware enough that, yeah, they didn't say anything, but they told me, which I was so glad that they did.
yes.
I was just like, okay, let me tell them. Yeah. Thank you
Right.
for telling me. Now let me be the one to tell them. So I did. And no, they weren't happy about it, but I did not. One of the things I didn't do was make a big deal about it. Like, can you come in here so we can talk about something and all of
Oh
this
my
stuff?
goodness.
I just made sure that we were like both in the kitchen at the same time. And I
Right.
said, by the way, tonight you need to, there's certain words I did not use. There's certain, and then it was just not a big deal. And within the hour, it was fine. And so, but that was more like an idea for me. They have to learn habits by
Yeah.
parents' guidance.
Right. And
So
there's ways to do that, and where in which it's more fun, and I mean, like when if it's their idea, like you're
yeah,
like, okay, so you can present to them like, okay, so when it comes to hygiene, this is what is expected. how would you like to approach that? Like, do you want to make a schedule?
Exactly.
Do you want to like set yourself a day and a time?
But this is like lifestyle issues, right? This has to be done. So
Right.
since this has to be done, these
Yeah.
are the choices you have. And I'm really interested to know what you would like to do. But that's just an example of like the
Well,
kind
being able to talk to kids
of
in a
being
way
able to
that,
do, yes,
well, in a way that teaches them rather than shames them or
exactly.
like purposely embarrasses them.
Yeah, take
That
care of
one,
their mental along with everything else. That's so
yeah.
important, I
Well,
feel.
yeah. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect whatsoever. I know that I'm not. Goodness sakes. Like I think
Same.
everyone knows no one's perfect. The point is that when you're imperfect, that you correct yourself or apologize at the very least. Um, so like the way that I'm sorry, I know I've heard the story twice now, and my brain is still reeling
Yeah.
over what she did. Because,
Yeah.
okay, the thing I think that gets me the most, that really turns it into a multifaceted level of abuse, is when she forced him to lie, which is also, one of an awful sin, because she would, I'm sure, beat him for lying.
Yeah.
But at this point, she is telling him to lie
Hmm.
because it doesn't matter if it's true for him or not.
Hmm.
He has to lie. He has to suppress his individuality, like what he likes. He
Hmm.
has to suppress all his feelings of probably anger, confusion, sadness, like shame.
Yep.
I'm all of whole host of feelings. He has to just shove it down.
Yep.
And now he knows that he doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He does not matter
Yep.
on the simplest thing, because she's making this a big deal. She could have just passed that off and been like, oh well, we just not that I'm agreeing with her, but she could have just been like, oh, this isn't music we usually listen to,
Yeah.
and kept walking and
Kept
not made it a big
walking.
deal. But
Absolutely.
now she's created an event
Hmm.
in his mind and in his body that is going, whether he remembers it like photogenically or so like explicitly remembers it,
Yeah.
his body will remember and know
Absolutely.
that he is not safe. What he likes, whatever that is, and it could be the most benign thing,
Hmm.
he will not feel safe expressing what he even likes.
Hmm.
And like, I mean, she's actually causing a rift right there in their relationship.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
Because now he knows if he likes something, he has to hide it.
Yes, to hide it. Absolutely.
And he will lie about it because he lied about liking it in the first place when he didn't.
Yeah. And I'm
And
sorry,
this,
but
like,
him
it makes
hiding
me so
it is
angry.
the right choice. Like he's fighting for his identity that his
Yes.
parents are trying to take away from him. And not only his parents, but also God, because God was brought into
Oh,
that
yeah, let's add that
picture.
layer to it.
Yeah, that is a
Now what?
whole other situation. Now our creator, with whom they teach their children, created and then died for them and loves them exponential. I mean, just like crazy loves them. And now
Unconditionally, but
you do
conditionally.
not matter, and your likes and dislikes do not matter. What you're into or not into does not matter. Your identity does not matter. What's so interesting to me is that they raise their children never to make a decision of their own, seems like, when they're
Oh,
growing up. And then they shove them out into the world to make those decisions. It's like some of these kids, the time they finally go to college or get their own apartment is when they actually can start making their own decisions. There's actually someone in just that your family is very much acquainted with who has experienced this and is still not completely away from it. That's what they do. They make these decisions their whole life. If they stay in the home in their 20s, they are still making those kinds of decisions for them,
the
even though
most
they're adults.
the most minute decisions for them.
Oh my goodness.
And
Like,
not only that, they're still heaping shame upon shame on them if they don't do what they want them to do. And it's really more what their preferences are. They're not even issues of right and wrong.
right.
And for them, this is so multifaceted. So it could be, okay, example, because I've seen this happen, and this is just a common issue across the board. Gaming, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I just like I could go on a full body twitch out here. Um,
Oh yeah.
this one's deep for me. Um, Obviously it can be problematic, right?
Right.
Um, so for me, a gaming history. I mean, gaming really became a thing when I was a kid.
Yep.
Like the early gaming systems, etc. Like for us, the first thing we had in our house was a Game Boy. It was my brother's. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, I played it. I mean,
Exactly. And it's like it was geared towards boys more than it was
yeah,
girls, for sure.
yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that was like the first. Wow, this is just hitting me. That was one of the first coping mechanisms they were allowed to have,
Yes.
where they could get lost and away from reality.
Mm-hmm.
That was kosher.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, think about that from a guy's world perspective.
Yeah.
Um, that's really hitting me hard. um,
Mm-hmm.
so once again, okay, so there's a way to teach kids how to manage time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like healthily,
Yeah.
by creating schedules for them that are, just like a healthy schedule.
Right.
But when you have parents like we've been discussing, like you're like that lady, and they are making every decision for you,
Mm-hmm.
where there's no option A, option B. It's you do what I say because I said so, period.
Yeah.
There's no rhyme or reason. It's just what they like. It's just what they want. And even if like what they are asking for is reasonable,
Yeah.
the way that it's put forth creates that break. There's no choosing. It's not like teaching your brain like, okay, well, I'll consider option A and consider option B, which one works for me. It gives you a sense of autonomy. It teaches you how to make decisions because you have to consider what comes with both options.
Right.
And having two options is like the least amount of options you can have. And so, like, it's as simple as like when kids start having opinions about their clothes. Well, would you like this outfit today or this outfit today, little Johnny or Susie, like when they're 3,
Yeah.
or as soon as they have a preference around clothes, which is much earlier than people may expect. But you start like early with
Mhm.
simple things. Would you like the red cup or the blue cup? Would you like apple slices or a whole apple? Would you like, I mean, it's little things. You start teaching them how to make decisions.
Right.
And so, but when you like don't do any of that and you're just like, by George, you're going to eat what I prepared. Ugh. You know, and you take that all the way through an 18-year-old.
Yes.
And then you throw them into college
Yep.
and then wonder why there's so many issues of kids getting into trouble and not being able to make sound decisions.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before. Again, this is just a whole nother facet of like, look at the dating in these kinds of worlds.
Oh my
They
goodness.
can't even make a normal decision. They don't know how to manage. And I'm talking like personally, like I have experienced this.
Oh,
They
same.
don't know how to manage time. They don't know how to assess someone else's character.
Exactly. They don't even know what they want, let alone
They don't even know who they are.
they don't. They have to find an identity first of their own that they never were allowed to have before going to college.
Right.
They have to find an identity and then they can look for a partner. But that's why so many of these marriages are failing without failing, right? They're failing within the marriage, but they're staying together for the sake of the fact that they don't think God,
Well, they don't believe in divorce.
they don't believe in divorce. And so we just stay in a toxic and abusive relationship with this person and in turn abuse our children through this relationship
Yeah.
just because this is against our religion. It's just crap.
Well, and also like while they're at college, they're still being indoctrinated and brainwashed into this theology.
Completely. Yeah. And that's, it's,
I mean, but the whole way that you get there is because all these seeds are like planted as children.
right. And I personally think that this is 10 times worse when it comes to girls for you to steal their identity because of the patriarchal world that you're going into.
Well, I would actually disagree. Yeah, I know that sounds crazy,
Boy,
but okay, here's the thing. Identities are being stolen on both sides.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So if a boy's identity is stolen and he's taught, and like the example before him is the patriarchal male, that's not who he is. Like for real. That's what's planted in him. And the females is also taken away. She's taught to be the patriarchal female, which is submissive, less than, etc. So rather like they start here as infants and immediately identity is taken away. One is lifted up and one is thrown down. Neither are where they're supposed to be. Neither is a true identity. Obviously, it's more beneficial for the males as far as like service, like being served and owning things. It's very beneficial for males across the board, like not just in the church slash cult world, but even in the world at large, because they own things, like they are in control of the finances. So clearly there's a huge benefit to them or for them. And it's going to be harder to recognize that this is not how you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to view women and treat women. It's also not how you're supposed to view yourself. Like, because the patriarchal view of a man is very animalistic.
Yeah.
But it's
So we may have to agree to disagree on that, because when you have got a child, a male child, and you are putting him, you're putting him down to elevate him, right? In the home, they are still put down, just like girls are. Their identity is stolen from them. But then as they get a little bit older, they realize, oh, I am the pretty much
I'm the alpha
patriarch. I am at the top of the patriarchy. And when I become a husband, I am the top of the patriarchy. I mean, it's not
they do get put at the top of the food chain.
A tier, in my opinion. In some homes, it's not even a tier. It is the man is here, and then the woman is here, and the children are here. So the woman is on the same level of the kids, where the dad is concerned, where the father is concerned.
Yeah.
We will have to agree to disagree, because
I'm
very anti-male right now. I
know you are. I know.
And maybe that's the reason it's like.
Do you think that's fair, though?
It's not fair, but it's definitely worse on the woman when they are put out into the world.
I would agree that the impact on women is far more detrimental.
Yes, absolutely.
Like the impact for women. And here's where I'm trying to bring a little balance. Because if the patriarchal bullshit would just freaking burn down.
Right. For sure.
And we had men and boys who were taught mutual respect and love and healthy relationship dynamics. Isn't that where we want to be?
Absolutely. And it is super difficult to come down from a pedestal.
Yeah.
But I think it's harder in some ways to be pulled back up to where you're supposed to be. Now, that's just my opinion, because I've been there for so long.
Right.
But I do know someone who has worked extremely hard, a man who has worked extremely hard to eliminate the patriarchy in his own home.
Right.
Done a phenomenal job.
Yes.
And it's been probably going on 10 years now that he has really worked hard, not necessarily on the patriarchy, but just on himself.
Yeah.
Not necessarily on eliminating the patriarchy, but just on himself. And it's only been in the last couple of years that he has realized that the patriarchy never has bred success or any kind of positive anything.
No. Oh no.
And
it's
because of that, then he realized, okay, then why is this such a good thing? Why do people push it so much? Why is it,
because they're brainwashed.
And it's just been like just this reality of him realizing in history there's been no positive outcome of patriarchy
ever.
And so now they're trying to go back and take away more from women. And so he's realizing, okay, this is not a good thing. So over the past couple of years, he's really delved into, and he's knocking himself down. And that takes a lot of
humble pie.
Yeah, a lot of humble pie, but it takes a lot of self-control
awareness.
And awareness to come down. And he's probably the only man that I've ever known that I would trust completely with anything. He's the only man I've ever known that I would trust completely. And it's not because of knowing him from before, because quite literally he was an asshole before, but it's from knowing him now, presently, and all the work that he has done. But it's for men, they are not trying to convince the world of their worth. Their worth is already in set, or the worth that they have is already inset in the fact that they have got a penis, right? So that is highly triggering for me because women then come up and say, okay, I am worthy, but I am crap under people's feet, especially if it's a man in the home, in the grocery store, in the office. It doesn't matter where you are. You are less if you are a woman.
Agreed.
So women then try to prove their worth. They're trying to convince some of them, maybe not everybody, that they can do it just as well, and sometimes even better. Men
Mhm.
don't have to prove that.
No,
Have to
actually,
back
they can do
themselves.
quite a shitty job and still
Oh,
be praised.
exactly.
They can do the bare minimum.
Women can do a phenomenal job and still be criticized. So it's like, in my opinion, and not no, I'm not a man, and I've not had to knock myself down a peg or two. I have been trying to climb a ladder and get to the top in some way. And I know that when, I mean, you have to get to a point where you just say, I know that I'm worth something. I know that I'm worthy. So it is it's a self-awareness for a woman as well. It's
Yeah.
self-awareness that no matter what other people say, I know I'm worthy. I know I am worth something, and I know I can do this regardless.
Okay. So I
I can see
understand, like,
what you're saying, though.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying too.
Well, and here's the thing though. Like, obviously, as like part of humanity, we exist in the spectrum of male and female, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, like that's just fact. Um, I think this is where I feel like I can't talk. Patriarchy steals from both sides.
Uh-huh.
Like I like my I would love, okay, it sound like Miss Congeniality and world peace. Um
I love that movie.
yes.
Oh, great.
Like it ultimately, if we lived in a society that was not patriarchal, right? Like where it has been eradicated.
Uh-huh.
So like just imagine that. Because like in my mind that would be the goal. Um if we were able to parent both genders across the board in healthy ways where it was equal opportunity, there was equality and equity,
Uh-huh.
that we would have a society where women aren't devalued, aren't put down, where it's safe for them to go for a jog in the park,
Yeah.
where we could live in like mutual respect and love of one another.
Uh-huh.
Um, I I believe that like it is equally harmful to men because it turns them into a predator, right? It turns them into a predator.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sorry, but like, I mean, I have two boys.
Yeah.
I did not raise them to be predators.
Right.
And I want them to be able to find a healthy relationship that is mutually loving and respectful.
Yeah.
Like that is the goal.
Right.
Um, and whether that's just with friends or if that's a romantic relationship, is to be mutually respectful of everyone.
Right. Yeah.
So I wonder if we're not talking past each other a little bit because I understand like absolutely from experience where you're coming from on the female side of this because it is like an abomination where we are
Uh-huh.
as a gender.
Right.
So I know you had something to say there. Go ahead.
And I agree. Like I think we are talking past each other because when it comes to the individual, all I can think of is like my daughters and then my son.
Right.
When it comes to the individual, raising them up is different because we're male and female, and it's a little different because they're going into a world that is not our home. And they're
No.
going to have to be able to function in that world that is not our home. So I have to teach in a way where my son respects his sisters and all women. When he gets older, he's not a predator. We do not judge them, or he controls himself and his own emotions.
Right.
And my girls too.
Right.
But for the individual child, yeah, it's the same. It's the same damage. It's the same. It's not the same work, but it's probably the same effort.
Right. And
that work.
I mean, I think I said this maybe last week, but what I was saying was that in order for there to be healing, both of them, one, like males have to come and find a new identity from the top down, and women have to come from the bottom up. And I mean, one's coming from a very fragile and swollen ego, and women are coming from like negative ego, like there's less than nothing.
Yeah.
Which is why there's so much people pleasing on the case of women.
Yeah.
Where we're constantly trying to prove that yes, we can do it, we can do it. And honestly, women outperform men all the time.
All the time.
All the time. I saw recently something that said that a good man is an average woman.
Absolutely. But do you think that that's really the way that it was supposed to be in the beginning? I think a lot of it is conditioning. I think that men, huh?
I absolutely believe that it's conditioning, and I believe that men created this system for their benefit because they're just evil assholes.
Absolutely. And this has been patriarchy. The patriarchy has been in effect from the beginning of time. So it is
not, I don't know. For recorded history, yeah.
I'm not talking about the creation, if that's what you believe in. I'm not talking about that this was the way it was supposed to be.
Oh no.
I believe that men across the board are not all good at the same thing. Duh.
What?
There are some men across the board, like all men are not good at the same thing. Like there are some women who can do what somebody would consider manly work, and they do it so much better than men. There are some men that can do what people would consider woman's work, and they do it better than women. Some women.
Well,
so if you don't take that into consideration, I mean, seriously, we were supposed to help each other. Not one was supposed to be over another. Go ahead.
Oh, what I was going to say is that gender, I think it's gender. Hold on. I might have to edit some of this out. So gender is a social construct. Like that is where the conditioning lies, is when you gender tasks.
Exactly.
Like a task is a task is a task.
Or doing laundry, that is not a gender. It's not gender specific.
No. And to be honest, like our pioneer ancestors, the females did far more man's work than we do these days. Yeah. But like I've seen some people ask these questions online from, okay, I'm thinking of a particular person who asked what masculinity was. And I think I did actually respond to that one. And it was interesting reading the responses because both my husband and I were reading them. And my husband was like ultra frustrated at these people because he's like, they have no logic.
Absolutely
Like,
none. I would have loved to.
well, and of course it's approached from a biblical perspective.
Oh, good grief. Okay, well.
I'm like,
Oh.
okay, well, here's the thing. The Bible doesn't actually give gender instructions.
No, it does not.
It
Nowhere.
doesn't tell you what masculinity is. Do you know what it tells you? How to be a good human.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what's so frustrating. This is so interesting that this came up in this podcast because you talk about getting a fire lit underneath me. I get so upset. My daughter and I were talking last night, and she said, "Mom, did you know that king and queen are not gender? They are not gender specific." Okay. When they were created, the name king and queen, king was the top.
Uh-huh.
That was if it was a king, it was the top. The tier was at the top. Queen was right underneath. It's
Yeah.
just like president, vice president. It is
Oh, it's just a rank.
no, a woman can be the king. A
Yeah.
man can be the queen. But because it has always at some point in time in history, and this is true factual stuff. Like I looked it up. In history, I don't know what point in time it was, but it was I can't I mean it was obviously a long time ago. When it started becoming gender specific was when it was the king was the husband and the queen was the wife.
Yeah.
The first time that ever happened, that's when it changed. And everybody was like, oh, the woman's supposed to be the queen and the man's supposed to be the king and the woman cannot be the king. That is complete bullcrap. Kings can be either men or women, and queens can be either men or women.
Well, it sounds like
crazy.
okay. It sounds exactly like so you can be the general or the lieutenant
Yeah.
and be a male or female.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it makes
That's
so much
amazing.
sense. It makes so much sense. Just like that, general, lieutenant, president, vice president. I can't wait for a woman to be president.
Oh, same.
I really felt like that we were close a couple of years ago, and then we've kind of I'm afraid we're backtracking a little bit. I'm hoping that this is not like anyway. But yeah, president, vice president, lieutenant. I mean, it's just like
I don't know if I have the ranks right on general and lieutenant, but I'm just
I don't know, but it is the same.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought that was a really interesting.
That is fascinating. Now I'm going to go look this up and
I know.
learn more about it.
My daughter actually learned that from her cousin who loves like those kinds of facts about her and her family just that's sort of like dinner talk for them. They just
I love that.
Learn that day and what they my daughter loves to go over there because they have all this kind of information that
sounds like a great place to be. I would love to sit in on that.
Oh, I know. She one of the reasons she loves to go there is just to literally sit at their dinner table and listen. Like she doesn't contribute or anything. She just likes to sit and listen. It is so funny.
Yes.
We kind of rabbit trailed on that. I know.
It's okay. It's a great rabbit trail.
That was a good, I like.
Well, but it actually it's consistent. And here's the reason why. And I know you said, we were talking about like the biblical influence, and that is the influencer in these circles, in that cult. Which okay, so if you want to go from that point of view, if you look at the story of creation in Genesis, they seem to forget that Adam and Eve were created equal, that they were both commanded to go and, what's the word? Have dominion over the earth.
Yeah.
There was no differentiating them as one more powerful than the other at all.
Or really their roles.
Yeah, there was no differentiation whatsoever. It was like, okay, well, now we have a male and a female, so now go and be a family. Like, go work the earth. Like, go grow your veggies and have your little farm and make some babies.
And they had different roles in, like, obviously there has to be a male and female in order to procreate, right? Like that.
Well, that would be the only
only reason for the two parts. I mean, that's like for the male and the female was for populating the earth, basically.
Yeah, well, yeah, you have to have.
He wanted it to multiply. He wanted humans to multiply. That's why male and female.
Right. And so all this is like going fine and dandy until the fall, quote unquote. It is not until that, and I have always believed that the curse was patriarchy.
Yeah. You mean, okay, how so? Go ahead and explain that.
So, because it says that, which I've done tons of listening on this whole thing, like the breakdown of the Hebrew.
Yeah.
All this stuff, because it's actually been misinterpreted a lot over time. A lot of people thought that part of the curse was pain in childbearing. That's actually not true. And if you want to go listen to more about this, there's a podcast that Allie can put in the description. Anyways, that was not the actual curse. The curse was having to work the ground. Like, the ground was cursed. And so now that you have to like labor really hard just to survive.
Yeah, and then it's not just going to grow itself for you.
Yeah, and then it said that she would, hold on, I'm going to look this up really fast so I don't get this wrong.
Sure.
It was actually really interesting to hear the interpretation of the curse or whatever. So it says, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband. This is the part. And thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. If that isn't patriarchy, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Desiring your husband, but he's ruling over you. Like, that's quite a dichotomy.
Yeah.
Because, like, it sounds like she genuinely loves him, desires him, and he's like beating her with a stick.
It happens in some way, in some way.
Oh, it happens actually, like,
I mean, they take this.
So anyways, so to bring this back around and circle it all together, all of this comes about because of conditioning. Like, this is where the like patriarchal theology, which is what this is, it's fundamentalist theology, not like it's the natural outflow of its beliefs. It's really insidious. Because not only are, like, it'd be one thing if you had this kind of conditioning without the religious aspect.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely in this world, it's definitely there. I don't think that people realize how much religiosity is tied up in it. Like people who are, not churched and not part of church, I don't think they realize how much their life has been impacted by the church.
By the church. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting.
Yeah.
But then when you throw like the religious aspect on top of that, now not only are you just being conditioned to, tie everything like your autonomy to fear, now what you like will probably send you to eternal hell.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can make people believe things and do lots of crazy shit when you add that.
Right. What is so interesting, like what you just said about how people don't realize how much the church has influenced their lives. Um, I knew of a couple who he was not raised at all in the church. She
Mm-hmm.
was, but they
Mm-hmm.
were not currently in the church. They got married. He was highly abusive before they got married. She should have known better, but she married him anyway. Their marriage lasted maybe 2 years, but the whole time, I mean, I don't even know if they owned a Bible, if there was a Bible in their home.
Uh-huh.
Um, he was just, he was like full of the devil. It was just crazy. And nothing that he did was anywhere near what a Christian would like, fell underneath like what they say a Christian's supposed to do, the way they're supposed to live or whatever. And however, he would use against her that the Bible says
I know where you're going.
that the man is the head of the home and that she is supposed to obey him, submit to him. It's the only thing he ever used from the Bible.
Well,
So, I mean, right there in that one family and that one situation, it was so classic, just everywhere across the board. That's exactly what it is for men. I
and here's the
believe
other thing,
that's
like,
what God said you were
so,
supposed to do.
like my journey to this current, my current conclusion, which can change, by the way. I'm not like set in stone, but this is just where I'm at.
Right.
Because I've gone from being fully patriarchal.
Mhm.
And this is so weird to me because I remember sitting at the computer at my desk in Ohio, reading about the patriarchy and someone who was against it.
Mhm.
And so I was just I was actually reading about someone who thought that the patriarchy was wrong. And it's actually hard to describe, but I remember it's almost more of like a visceral feeling
Yeah.
of, I think at that moment I recognized the issue with it, but because I couldn't articulate that for myself, I still chose to believe that it was correct.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I kind of chose to believe in like a soft version of that,
Yeah.
like, which, complementarianism, which is a big mouthful of a word. That was what I believed in, where like, oh, well, our roles just complement each other. And my husband can be kind, but still be in control,
Mm.
which is, again, that's how it stays, because it can be passed off as something good,
Mhm.
but when it exists on a spectrum, the kind, like the nice side, is just a front for the utter evil.
Oh yeah.
underneath. It's literally the tip of the iceberg and all the nastiness is underneath.
Right.
And I just remember like that moment of being of where I started, I think is where I started to question it.
Yeah.
It's such an odd moment to remember.
How long ago was that?
I mean, again, I was living in Ohio, so and this was years before we moved. So probably okay, so we moved in 2016. So next year it'll be 10 years since we moved. Anywhere from like 12 to 14 years ago.
Okay. Wow. That's crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
Because it was the first time it is. I actually started to question it.
Yeah.
And it was where I was leaning into the soft patriarchy and being like, well, it can be good.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. But then, oh goodness, now I don't even know how long it's been since I've fully become against it. Um, I know it was before I moved here and a few years before that.
Yeah.
So at least 5 years.
Yeah.
No.
You were pretty much fully there when we met.
Yeah. I would say in 2020 and 2021 is where I fully like it locked in for me.
Yeah, because I
Because
remember
like I couldn't unsee it anymore.
yeah. No, once you get the realization that this is not the way it's supposed to be, and I mean, history just speaks for itself. You don't have to, you just need to. I like history. I didn't when I was
Yeah.
in school.
Oh,
But
same. I
since
love
I've
it.
been older, I really do like history.
Yeah.
And I read up on history. And yeah, it just when you realize that it's not done anyone any good, it's I mean, for sure with women, but even men, it
Right.
hasn't really benefited them in any way. Not
Right.
really.
One of the hardest things to realize is that they were slash are an abuser.
Hmm.
Like that is, I mean, that creates such feelings of shame.
Yeah. To obey our husbands is
Yeah.
part of our wedding vows. And
Right.
so when you say that to somebody, that you're supposed to, as a woman, submit and obey the way that a child should.
Obedience is equated with children. I should put it that way.
Yeah. So when you put that in on a woman to her
Mm-hmm.
husband,
Mm-hmm.
you're what is the man going to do when she stops? When she stops obeying, when she stops, you know, I never wanted to find out what would
Right.
happen to me. I never wanted to find out what would happen to me, and that never was verbally spoken. But there's a lot of women that are like that. It's not verbally spoken, but it's the underlying fear that they don't want to find out what's going to happen if they decide that they're, I mean,
Well, there's usually signs of what will happen.
typically, like you cross
It's
a
very
line.
subtly communicated.
Mhm.
Sometimes not so much. Not
Well,
so subtle.
yeah, it usually doesn't just like all of a sudden like sneak up on you. You're right. So spending a little bit too much money, doing things like not even right out and out disobedience as much as just like pushing the line a little bit.
Oh,
Things
you mean like a
come
kid?
out. Yeah, like a kid would do. Um, like things will come out that
Mm-hmm.
like person like the true person will show their colors eventually. And it usually happens in those kinds of situations. And it doesn't it's not always um it's not always after the wedding. Sometimes they've done it before the wedding. I mean, so
Right.
many of us were like, we knew what we were getting into and we still decided to whatever.
Well, but did we? That's the thing. Did we actually?
Actually, okay.
Because
Well, some of them
that's
did.
what we were conditioned
We were
to
conditioned.
look for.
Yeah. I know what I wanted when I got married, and it was not a partner. Like, you think about it, you know, you wanted what you didn't have growing up,
Right.
basically. And it was a stable person, a person who was stable.
Did we understand what a healthy relationship actually looked like?
No, it goes right back to this identity stolen from this child.
Yes.
Our identities were not there when we graduated high school and when we went into college. We had no identity. We didn't know what music we liked. We didn't know what colors looked good on us. We didn't know really. I mean, we were just going with the flow. We were jumping from the fire or from the frying pan into the fire going to college because college was a lot stricter than my house, but it was, I just like gobbled it all up because this was truth and this was, this is the way I was pushed to go. But it was like our identity was not there. Therefore, there was no way we were going to get the right partner, right? I mean,
Well,
and there are
okay.
no second chances, Sarah. There
No.
are absolutely no second chances. Who you have is who you get. I literally heard a preacher say one time, I think from the
Yeah.
pulpit,
Yeah.
that if it was not the right person when you married them, it became the right person when you married them.
Yes. Oh, I've
No,
heard that.
that is not true. People do not. Oh my goodness. You've got two people who have no clue who they are, no clue who
Right.
they are, getting married. They have
Right.
every right to divorce and try again when they find their identity.
Right.
Not tell people that they cannot divorce. That causes so many more problems than if you tell people that divorce is okay.
Yeah. Well, and like, um, if these two people get married who don't know themselves, all of a sudden are now allowed to do whatever they want if if they have a strong enough personality to actually attempt it.
Right.
Because and it's weird because you see both sides. You see the ones who just like hunker down and continue that toxic pattern and just continue to be a non-person,
Yeah.
especially females who let their husbands just rule over them. No, I shouldn't even say let. It's just how what they're just following their training.
Yeah.
And then you have the other side where you have people who are just naturally curious, and and usually they're the black sheep of the family, um,
Oh, yeah.
who've been beat down for so long, and they are smart enough to see through the hypocrisy and see that two and two aren't adding up, or two and three aren't adding up to whatever number they said it did, and they get out, they go explore the world, and usually it's um in a very dangerous way.
Oh, yeah.
And those are the people that they say go off the rails, yada yada. Um, but it makes perfect sense what they're doing. And at the same time, like even though they're trying all these things, they're not actually finding their identity. They're just doing everything they were told they weren't allowed to do.
Right.
And here's some irony for you, because this is how you know this is not true, that everyone has to like the exact same thing or you're not holy. I have never met so many people who love Southern gospel music
Oh my goodness.
in the same place. Because
Okay.
they weren't, oh, okay, they weren't allowed. Now, some of them weren't even allowed to, like, that was also not holy. That was not
Oh
holy
yeah.
enough.
It
But
depends on what group you ran with. Yeah.
yes, well, where I was, Southern gospel was it.
Yeah.
And everybody, like, they knew the Southern gospel groups, songs, peoples, history, like all the trivia, like anyone else for any, like for, just like popular music of the world, right? And it got treated with the same amount of reverence and idolatry worship as any other musical artist
Yeah.
at an awards show, right? So like NQC, like the National Quartet Convention, that would happen.
Oh, my word.
I've never been. I don't want to go. I hate Southern gospel music.
Can't stand
Like
it. I
I
can't.
never liked it even as a kid.
No, I
Like
didn't
it
either.
drove me crazy.
I went to a couple of concerts, and when I went, it was like the ick feeling. Like the
Yes.
people on stage were so icky.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's what happened to us. Like we went to a Gold City concert when I was a kid. And I mean, so as a kid, that's like one of the only concerts I think I'd been to. So it was fun in that aspect because I mean it was loud, there was drums, you know, and back like my parents were pretty picky on who they liked it. It was mostly like the Kingsmen and Gold City.
Oh,
And
and oh my God.
I know, right? Or the cathedrals, whatever.
Oh,
Well, but what happened was during the break, bathroom break. So we went up to go to the restrooms, and one of the singers was taking a smoke break during that. Yes, and my mom saw him. Oh,
what?
she was livid.
I love it. Oh
How
my goodness.
dare you smoke?
Yeah. Oh my word. I
I
remember.
mean, she was so furious. Like she's like, "We're never going to one of these things again," and we didn't.
That it was a thing for Southern gospel singers and whatever.
Which is weird, because that's like a horrible thing. Like
Oh,
if
it's
you're a
horrible for your
vocalist, that's like
voice.
one of the worst things you can do.
But Sarah, if you think about it, like I remember this one person, it was a guy who was recruited. Like they got in touch with him, wanted him to come try out. You didn't have to be a Christian. You didn't have to even profess.
Oh,
You just had to have a good voice in order to be, you know. And so it was like a thing. Like you don't
it was a
didn't have to
performance. That's it.
his performance. It was like trying out
It
for,
wasn't that deep.
yeah, no, it was like trying out for a play or for
Mm-hmm.
any kind of group to sing in. They didn't care about your personal life as much as they cared about your vocal talent. So that's what it was. So these people would go to these concerts and sing and not really have, I mean, obviously they're going to get people who smoke and drink and do all of the things. So yeah, I remember that being like a big deal.
Back to the point is that like the reason why these kids were so into Southern gospel was because they weren't allowed to listen to anything else.
Anything else. Yeah.
And so when that's the only option you're given,
Right.
and I mean, and there is a decent amount of variety of style within the Southern gospel groups.
Hmm.
Thank God. Because even like contemporary Christian, oh goodness, sorry, I'm not even going to go there because we'll rabbit trail again. But that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Yeah.
But like, there could be disparity between like whether you like Southern gospel or CCM. Um,
But but Sarah, okay, so real quick, just quick story. I went to boarding school when I was 14,
okay.
and it was only a couple hours from home.
Uh-huh.
I had to live in the dorm,
Uh-huh.
and they would have dorm sweeps. And I was in high school, and the dorm mom would come down the hall and she would go through our music. So if we had any CDs, any tapes, anything. And I remember she took my very, I was way into Whitney Houston back then.
Oh,
Loved her.
no, she did not.
She took my Whitney Houston tape, cassette tape, and I never got that back. And I had gotten that with my own money. I remember like
So they're
I
just
bought that tape and it was her latest album and it had all of the amazing songs on it that I absolutely loved. And I still think about that tape because I'm still a Whitney Houston fan. I
yes.
love her songs and I will listen to
Yeah.
her songs over and over. Yeah. I mean, it's just that identity stealing, you
Do
know,
you realize though that like that was actual theft?
actual theft. Actual theft. And what happened to that? They throw it away? Did they gift it to somebody else for Christmas? I mean, you
No,
never,
they twist.
stole.
Well, yes, and they twist. They what's the word? They make it okay because it's sin
There was nothing
in
wrong
their
with that music,
opinion.
though. Like there was
I know there's nothing
nothing
wrong with it, but I'm
that
saying
was
like they are excusing
actual sin.
actual
Yeah.
sin because of their perception of what you have. And so because they think that it's wrong, then it's actually then they excuse their own theft.
Hmm. Yeah. Because it must be that they're trying to protect you. No, what I did was I asked for another one for Christmas that year because she had taken mine. Yeah. So I got another one, not the same one, because anyway,
See,
what
here's the thing.
happened?
If you're a dorm mom or if you're a college student listening to this and this kind of shit has happened to you, like A, it was wrong. Two, it was actual theft.
Yes,
B, I wish we could sue.
I know.
I
I
wish we could press charges.
and I was in high
And like
school,
again, I'm
so
thinking of this girl I that talked to me what like a year ago ish
mhm.
because she had over $500 worth of clothes taken from her because they raided her closet because they deemed her clothes inappropriate. And it was all based on their opinion. Guess what? The girl was a little curvy.
Oh, okay.
This is like a more recent happening.
Now she could sue.
I mean, I don't know what, like, how many years it's been
Stolen
because,
clothes. There is there is though like one story after another that you and I can come up with where
well, they
wasn't
excuse their
just
theft because they have a thing like music or DVD or something that's against the rules. And here's the thing. If that's your rules and you go snoop, well, if you're snooping, A, shame on you. But if it's open, if it's out in the open and you see it, yes, according to your contract, you have to do something about it. So, sure, take it, confiscate it, and give it back.
at
Give
the
it back.
at least at the end of the year.
Or be like, the next time you go home, excuse me, the next time you go home,
Take this.
you have to take this with you. You are not allowed to have this on campus. You are not allowed to freaking steal.
Exactly. You can give it back and say, don't bring this back on campus because we are a cult and we don't allow this kind of stuff in our cult.
Right.
That's what it's about. It is not about whether it's right or wrong. It's that you're going against the rules of a freaking cult.
Oh.
That's what you're doing.
Yep.
So, first of all, don't be part of a cult. Don't go to those kinds of colleges.
Don't go to the Bible colleges. Sorry, you probably didn't want to hear that, but we're going to make people mad, but I'm sorry. I will never, and my kids do not want to, but I will never support them going to a Bible college.
I never will.
Period.
I won't pay for it. I will not send them.
I'm like, obviously that's your choice, but I will deeply discourage it. And I don't even have to worry about it, by the way, because they see through it too. Like, it is so easy to see through once you get the wool off your eyes.
Yeah. I will not. I think I've got pretty much everybody in my family realizing the dangers of that world.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, Sarah.
Yeah. Crazy. You know what's funny? I remember they would talk about how they had some student. Oh my goodness. So I think a student was coming to classes or were allowed to come to the school and live in the dorm on probation by the court system. Right?
Oh,
probation.
Serious?
Yes.
What did they do?
I don't actually know, and that's actually quite concerning.
Yeah.
But because I remember this being told from the pulpit that a student had come, I think it might have been like maybe a juvenile, because maybe they were in high school, but they were either way, they were on probation by the court system, and I believe they lived on campus. I'm quite sure they did. And the reason why they were allowed by the courts to attend, because when they read the rule book, it was worse than theirs. And they're like, well, if that's what you want to do, you can, because they're far more strict than we are. And they were telling this from the pulpit as a flex. Like,
oh my word. So, okay. Hey. So you're talking about a juvenile who actually committed some kind of crime.
Yeah.
In juvenile detention.
Well, it was either a juvenile or a young adult. I'm not so sure it wasn't a young adult. Either way, they were on probation
actually
because they committed crime. Yeah.
Was sent to one of these schools. But all of the people who come there are held to these kinds of rules and disciplines without committing crime.
Right.
That
they chose to be there.
Is crazy.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I remember hearing that and I was like, why would you want to come here?
Yeah.
And this is so weird because, like, I was already there. That's where I heard it.
That is like, go back to juvenile detention or wherever you came from.
Go back to being on house arrest. It's better.
Oh yeah, if it was house arrest. But more than that, Sarah, okay, even if the rules were strict, the protection was not there for the other kids in school.
No, there's no protection.
They should have never allowed that to go to move forward.
There's no protection for your kids at these schools. None. So I guess instead of ending on a bad note, like, How do you stop this? How do we undo the conditioning? Any ideas?
Well, you need to remove yourself from the cult.
At first, you got to walk away from that, which is the hardest part, I think. Oh, one of these days, I'll tell my whole story of when we actually left.
Oh man, that would, yeah, we need to go through that. I think that, okay, so just, you ask how do we undo this conditioning? When I started to realize that a lot of what I was into was not sinful,
Yeah.
it was a daily struggle to push against the things that I could recognize as just simply being genuine, innocent interest and not sinful desires. Like that was, I pushed against it every single day. And now
Right.
it's more natural, but it was like I just rejected it. I had to reject it every day.
Right. Well, like understanding how many things are amoral. Like
Mm-hmm.
how many things we were told had moral value that don't.
Exactly. Exactly. And if you really would sit and think about it, Sarah, the, like there's nothing there that has anything to do with morals, like with heaven or hell. They're
Well,
not
I
heaven
mean,
or hell issues. They're just
yeah. And like how so much of what, especially as women, we were taught, it all, these people are obsessed with sex, okay?
yeah.
And so everything was about sex. Everything could be related back to sex.
Mm-hmm.
And so they made your sleeve length a moral issue.
Yeah.
They made the type of shoe you wear a moral issue. They made
Makeup.
everything a moral issue that you put on your body
Yeah.
or didn't.
And it was
Um,
all towards women, most of
oh
it.
yeah. And then they, because they sexualized everything, they taught the boys that all those things were sexual.
Yeah. They conditioned the boys to,
So they conditioned them into being not like into being predators.
but just seeing things that weren't there, just
Well, that's what I'm saying.
not
Like
objective
they
stuff, but
conditioned them to be predatory, to
yeah.
see all these things that weren't sexual as sexual, and
Look at women
to look at women as objects.
objects instead of people. It's, yeah.
And so, like for me, like realizing what's moral and what's not. Obviously, I'm aware that we live in a world full of predators.
Yeah.
And so I know that some of the worst ones are in religious environments.
Mm-hmm.
And learning to teach my kids about how to dress appropriately
Mm-hmm.
versus having a modesty message.
Yeah.
Um, because those are very different and have very different outcomes.
Exactly.
Um,
And they're appropriate for the situation that they're in.
appropriate to what you're doing.
Like you wouldn't wear a bikini to a snowsuit event.
Like you wouldn't wear a bikini to go skiing, or you wouldn't wear it to like a conference meeting.
And I wouldn't let my kids walk into Walmart in a bikini either.
Right.
It's not culturally acceptable, but it's not morally wrong.
Right.
There are just,
Unfortunately, I like the way that I would explain now, rather than saying, hey, you're modest or immodest, I would be like, hey, there are people there are predators
yeah.
out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that we should have to change ourselves for them. But as children in particular,
Yeah.
I do say, hey, we have to we got to wear something different.
Yeah.
Not because it's wrong, but because there's predators.
You are
And because they are wrong.
but it's the verbiage in.
Yeah, it's in a way that doesn't make it sin, or in a way that if something were to happen where they would blame themselves for what happened.
Right.
Because it does not matter what you are wearing.
Yeah.
Rape is rape.
Yeah.
It does not matter what you're wearing.
It doesn't.
So also like learning to like just enjoy my children being children is another way to break free.
Yeah.
Like allowing myself to like the things that I like dark colors on my walls, bold colors.
Yeah.
Like something that simple. A lot of like identity building is just what do you like?
Yeah. Like, why wouldn't you
What do you prefer?
why wouldn't you want to know? Like, as the kids get older, I love to figure out or to hear them talk about what they really like, what they really enjoy.
And not to shame them for it.
No, and it's always sometimes it changes from day to day.
And that is the thing. It will
It
change.
is. Yeah. And it's like what they like this year, they're not gonna like next year. So
Well, and that's how they do
like right
figure
now.
out in the end. That's how you figure out in the end, like by the time you're an adult, you kind of land in
Yeah.
a place. And okay, even my taste had, well, I wouldn't even say it's changed. It's just I've finally discovered it.
Yeah.
Like identity is a journey of discovery. And so just like noticing like in the small things. And also like I know people probably I'm gonna stop apologizing about the whole like not believing the Bible is what I believe it is now.
Yeah.
You can have values without being a Christian.
Yeah.
You can be I honestly observe far better people outside of the cults than in.
For sure.
Like morals shouldn't only exist because of your book.
Yeah.
And they don't.
Exactly. There are so many things that
If that's the only thing keeping you being nice to people,
not enough.
it
And
it tells me a lot about you.
right, and it's proven to be not enough. It
Yeah.
does not have, like, part of your identity is how you want to treat other people, how you want, and
Well, how you view them
is yeah, the how you view other people, how you want people to treat you, and in turn, but also, Sarah, it's like if somebody comes up to you and slaps you across the face, I'm sorry, but I am not going to let that stand. I'm not going to let that go.
No.
And I'm not going to teach my children to turn around and just walk away. If they can defend themselves, absolutely, I want them to defend themselves in that moment. So it's not just being nice regardless, being nice to everybody regardless of what you see. If I saw a mother slapping her child around in a department store, I would probably step in at this point right now. At this stage in life, I would take up for the child.
Like that's a call to like 911.
It's a 911 call. Absolutely. And there are so many 911 calls that actually happen in our world that are never called. And it's just because we have no identity. We have no, like, what do we want to bring to the world? What do we want to give back to the world? I want my kids to make an impact in their little corner of some kind, just simply with their personality. And so I want them to have their favorite color, and I want them to have their favorite music, and I want them to have their favorite jeans and their favorite outfits and all of this stuff that makes up who they are.
Yeah.
You tamp that down, You are going to create a monster. And
Well, yeah, because all of that is the foundation to them being able to, as an adult, pursue goals, careers, those kinds of things that impact their community and potentially the world at large.
yeah,
If you are a person who doesn't have an identity because it was stolen from you by this type of conditioning and brainwashing, you are stuck in fight, flight, freeze mode,
yeah,
and you'll never go anywhere
no,
except to either continue the cycle. Hopefully, you are able to see enough to like step out and start being curious about why you're stuck,
yeah,
why you're behaving the way you're behaving.
yeah,
Like, do you see the hypocrisy in yourself? Do you see that like cognitive dissonance in yourself? Do these types of conversations make you really uncomfortable? Why?
yeah,
Start asking questions and don't be afraid of the answers.
exactly. One of the best things I ever did to date was break the cycle of the way I started to raise my children and actually start to learn about who I am, what I like. It starts with you, really.
It does.
So
Well, I think that's a great place to end. I know we've talked a lot today, but I will, but I hope that as our listeners continue on with us, that we at least challenge your minds, even if you don't agree with us.
Yeah.
I would hope that you start asking these questions and listening to a different perspective, or maybe something you haven't heard or thought of before. Most of all, just be curious and keep finding the answers and always change.
always do not stay the same.
Yes, if you stay the same, you're stagnant. And it's actually a lot of fun finding out who you are.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible journey to find out who you are. And the act it's crazy the amount of like peace that brings, like the stability that brings to be like secure in who you are.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'm still on that journey,
Mhm.
but I'm really happy with where I'm at. So, anyways, join us next time. Don't forget to like and share. Takes like a millisecond to click that button.
Yes.
Just click the little buttons.
All right, guys. Thanks for
Okay,
listening
dokie.
and watching.
Yes, we'll see you next week. We do have another sermon breakdown coming up soon.
Yay.
So if there's any on your radar that you'd like us to start looking at now for the future, send those in. If any of this resonates with you and you want to send in your own stories, send it to the same email. We would love to hear more from you. And thank you so much for listening and sticking with us to the end. Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening on the party line to I'm on the Phone podcast with Sarah and Christy. Join us again next week for more stories about our pre, post, and mid-culty life. Thanks for listening. Write to us at I'm on the Phone podcastmoms@gmail.com and find us on our socials on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can also support us at ko-fi.com/I'm on the Phone podcast. That's Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/I'm on the Phone podcast. Thanks again.